Hello, my name is Tinley Rentschler.
And my name is Camryn Hutchinson.
And we are a part of District B FCCLA.
This year, for our STAR event, we are raising awareness about breast cancer and bringing forth the importance of early detection and annual mammograms.
Did you know that 42,690 people die each year from breast cancer, with 42,170 of them being women?
Crazy, right? This is why we have taken it upon ourselves to spread the word, raise awareness, and explain to people the importance of annual mammograms and early detection.
Today we are being joined by two breast cancer survivors.
They just so happen to be our grandmas.
So please help us welcome Teresa Rentschler and Pam Hutchinson.
I'm Teresa Rentschler, Tinley's grandma.
I'm Pam Hutchinson, Camryn's grandma.
How did you figure out you had breast cancer? Did you get an annual mammogram, or what made you suspect something was wrong?
I had a mammogram in April, and in September I had found a lump that was painful.
I found out through a mammogram as well. I get a yearly mammogram, and there was something different from the previous year.
Was your breast cancer early detected?
Yes. It was stage 1-2.
Mine was also early detected. It was stage 2, but it was also, according to the surgeon, it was pretty large, and so the tumor was, but that's sort of open to question still.
That's a good answer.
How old were you when you got breast cancer?
I was 47 years old.
I was 72.
How long did you battle breast cancer?
I battled it from diagnosis till when I had my last surgery to remove my port was about 15 months. That included chemotherapy, a full year of chemotherapy, twice a month or every other week, 12 weeks of once a week, and 8 weeks of radiation every single day. And when you did your chemotherapy, you were usually in the chair. My least amount of time sitting in the chair receiving the chemotherapy was about 6 hours.
I was really fortunate. It was DCIS, which means the tumor was in the duct. And so if you're going to get breast cancer, that's probably the best kind to get because it was localized and it hadn't spread. So because it was localized, I did not have to have radiation. They found only 2 millimeters of invasive tissue or cells, and so I didn't need chemotherapy either.
How did battling cancer affect you?
Oh, you just realize a lot of things that you thought were important aren't. The little things are.
I agree, but again, I was, so fortunate, and I really did kind of take it in stride, and I just kept getting good news, and so it really bolstered me to be able to handle it.
If you could go back in time, would you do anything different, such as get a mammogram sooner?
I don't think I would, because I'd had a mammogram in April, and I'd found a lump. They didn't really think it was probably anything, because sometimes a mammogram shows what they call fibroids or something, fibroid tissue in the breast. I think we honestly, my doctor and I honestly thought that's what it was. a mammogram wouldn't have, unless I'd have got one maybe right away, you know. But kind of goes back to insurance. Insurance paid for a mammogram a year. Mine was in April.
I don't know how I could have done anything different because I was faithful about getting my yearly mammogram too, and it was just something that finally showed up. Now, as to reconstruction surgery after my mastectomy, I don't know if I would do that again.
Do you think it is critical for women to get annual mammograms?
Absolutely.
Yes, I do, and they're much more comfortable now. So,
If you had any advice for women who are thinking about getting a mammogram, what would you tell them?
Don't think about it. Just do it.
yeah, and again, they keep improving on them, and they're better. The film is better. They show more things, and they aren't as painful as they used to be.
Do you think early detection with breast cancer is important?
Yes. Very important. Very important.
I agree, because if I'd had a different type of cancer, it would have spread, and I think you have to be very diligent. But again, your insurance pays for one a year, so but get that one.
Almost wish that they would start earlier. Isn't it, what, about 40?
They're recommending 40 now, aren't they?
Yeah, 40.
And
but-
was it 50 when we were? I don't know.
Mine was 40.
Yours was 40. I can't even remember. I know I've gone forever.
Yeah.
After your mammogram, what steps did you have to complete in order to beat your cancer?
Oh, I did not have a mastectomy or reconstruction. Mine was, hers, she called it DCS. It was in the duct, and in cancer terms, they call it in situ. It was right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it never spread. Mine was called invasive ductal carcinoma. It was about 7 millimeters big or whatever. It was long. It had spread. It had went into the system, and the first surgery was to find out where it was, or have the lump removed. That was, for me, that was done on October 4th, which was a Friday. I found out that it was cancer the next Tuesday, and had to go through all the steps of finding, a surgeon. I happen to have Dr. Christine Kelly out of Hayes. She's now deceased, but she was strictly women's health surgeon, and she strictly did the diseases of the breast. She did a surgery 2 weeks later. We went in, and she implanted a port, which was where I'd received my chemotherapy. She did a bunch of blood tests and found out that some breast cancers are what they call ER positive. Was yours ER positive or HER2 positive, or?
I don't know. I don't think so.
ER positive is estrogen receptor positive. HER2 has to do with hormone receptors. And my test came back that I was a triple negative. So I was not positive of any of it. They say that 75% are ER positive, about 24% is about HER2 positive, and then you have that wonderful little 1% that I got into, where I had to do chemotherapy. So yes, and a lot of times with the other two receptor, HER2 and ER positive, they can take a 5-year chemotherapy pill. So,
with me, after they detected the difference between the 2 mammograms, they did an ultrasound to get an even clearer picture. And then I had to go for a breast biopsy where they mark the breast and they, use a long needle to take some tissue from the breast. And then when I was actually diagnosed with cancer, they found it to be cancerous, and that was DCIS, as she said, it's in situ. And then they did a breast MRI so that they could get an even better picture of what they were dealing with. They also had me take a genetic test for that BRCA mutation, and I was negative for that. So then that helped guide them as to what I needed to do. But my tumor was large, and it was about 2.5 inches, and so by the time they would have taken the tumor and then a safe margin of tissue, I would have only had like 1/3 of a breast. And so they went ahead and recommended a mastectomy where they actually take the whole breast and then some muscle to make sure that the cancer hasn't spread. And then during surgery, they took 2 lymph nodes under my left arm. And they tested those while the surgery was going on. And then before the surgery, they also injected dye through my areola to go through my system to see if the other ducts were clear or not. So they were very thorough. And the cancer hadn't spread. As I said, there were just 2 millimeters. And I don't know my metric system very well, and I said to the oncologist, well, how big is that? And he went like this. So I felt really good at that point.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us about your story and your battle with breast cancer?
Oh, I think it's always scary to get any type of a cancer diagnosis. Unfortunately, they have to tell you the worst right up front because, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like that, but they tell you the worst and you think the worst and you just kind of put your faith out there and work towards getting through everything you have to go through.
I think, I was so much more fortunate in a way than you were because I did not need, any radiation or chemo. But I think everybody has a different story. I mean, there's so many things that are going to be different from one woman to another. And luckily mine had a good outcome and I was very lucky.
Yeah, I agree. Everything's different.
How long have you guys both been cancer-free?
I have been cancer-free since October of 2007.
October of 2019.
Thank you so much for watching our interview.
And remember, early detection saves lives. And also, breast cancer awareness is not just a month.